We're here to do what? We're here to win the Super Bowl. We're here to win the AFC West. We're here to make sure that we can focus all of our attention on the now. I'm not about the numbers. I don't care where we are ranked. Let's worry about what's about to happen next.
I mean, this is a good football team. You know, you start with 22, so a future Hall of Famer. But we look forward to that challenge. That's why we do this.
I mean, they're talented. People don't talk about their D-line, but it's one of the best defensive lines in football. They're well coached, a football team, and they have a mentality that they're going to come in and they're going to win. Whenever you go up against a team that's confident as you are that they're going to win, it's going to be a battle.
We're growing together. It's not about the numbers, okay? It's about the alphabets. And the only alphabet that matters is the W.
The Chiefs rode into the bye on a high note, defeating the 49ers in a complete team victory. They're 5-2 and in first place in the AFC West. And what better way to kick off the second half of the season than with a primetime clash between division leaders on Sunday Night Football. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited weeks for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, awesome start to the season for the Chiefs, 5-2 through 8 weeks. Let's keep it rolling here tonight.
Yeah, and it's been a gauntlet, really, when you look at who the teams of the Chiefs have had to play and then all the different start times. But to do that to San Francisco in Santa Clara, to have the momentum going into the bye, we know about Andy Reid after the bye, 20-3, 12-1 at home. But to play these guys have been the kryptonite a little bit for the Chiefs.
Yeah, let's exercise some demons here tonight, hopefully.
I like that.
We're going to break down this matchup over the next 20 minutes or so, but it's more than just Sunday Night Football tonight. It's also the annual Legends Game here at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. What does that mean? Well, dozens of players from every generation of Chiefs football will be here tonight to celebrate Kimball Anders, who will be the newest inductee in the Chiefs Ring of Honor at halftime of tonight's game. And for more on what this means to Kimball, I caught up with him a couple hours ago. All right, we're joined now by soon-to-be Ring of Honor inductee Kimball Anders. And Kimball, first question's an easy one. What's this all mean to you?
That means a lot, man. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be able to have this opportunity in life. So I'm very grateful to this opportunity and, playing here in Kansas City for 10 years. And now it's like, my name will be on this building forever. So it's great. It's unbelievable.
So we first knew about this in the spring. Walk me through how you found out you would be this year's inductee.
Well, Mr. Hunt gave me a call, and I didn't look at it. Actually, I was in the car looking at my phone, and there was an unknown number, and I wasn't going to answer it at first, but I went on to answer the phone, and I heard his voice. I was like, "You sure this Mr. Hunt?" He said, "Well, he told me what was going on. He gave me the news, so that's how it happened." And I was pretty shocked, too. I was not expecting it at all. I was not. It was like just a random phone call.
Yeah. I'm glad you answered that call, right?
Right. I wouldn't have to want to call it back.
So versatility was a big thing about your game. You were a tremendous blocker at fullback, obviously, but also a great pass catcher and a great rusher. How much pride did you take in being versatile throughout your career?
Oh, a lot of pride. Coming from the University of Houston at the time, we switched over to the run and shoot offense and catching the ball at the backfield. In my senior year, I actually got moved to inside receiver. So I started inside receiver my senior year in college. But, being versatile, catching the ball, blocking, is something I had to learn how to block. I had never blocked until we got in the West Coast offense with being a true fullback. And but I did pretty well at it, and it just made adjustments. And just, football player, no matter what position it is. That's why I tell a lot of kids, even now, if you're a football player, you can play any position. So
yeah, you got pretty good at blocking for guys like Christian Okoye, Marcus Allen.
I had to block for Christian 260. I'm 220. that was tough.
Yeah, did a pretty good job of it, though.
Yeah, I did pretty good at it.
Yeah, a few more questions for you. This is more than just you being inducted tonight. You're going to be surrounded by former teammates, players from every generation of Chiefs football. What's it mean to you for everyone to come together to celebrate you here tonight?
That's always a great feeling. Like being in football, like being part of athletics, it's brothership for the rest of your life. And if like I say, across the country, all the football players, we always gather up. Even though you have not seen some of these guys in 10 years, when you see them, you're going to be like you just see them yesterday. Yeah. And it's always good to see and hear from them. And, being here with the Chiefs Alumni Weekend, a lot of players that's in the past that you get the opportunity to even meet. So it's great. I think that's one of the biggest things I enjoy about the game itself. Is just bring that brotherhood to a lot of people, and that, they need it too.
Yeah, and last question, it's a big one. You're on the drum here tonight. How you feeling? You feel okay?
I keep hearing about this drum. Y'all just trying to scare me.
You nervous a little bit?
I don't know now. But like I said, I seen Neil did it one time. He was hitting it real hard. I say, why is he hitting it so hard? But it got to be some madness behind this. So I must go out there, hopefully do a good job at it. So
you'll crush it just like you crushed it throughout your career. Once again, Kimball, congratulations and enjoy tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, awesome stuff there from Kimball Anders. This franchise is so special for so many reasons, but it's the way they treat former players and include them in all of this that's truly second to none.
It starts with the Hunt family and Clark and Tavia and the rest of the kids, and it started with Lamar, just their respect for every single player that's won this uniform. It tells you something when we won Super Bowl 54 and all those guys got Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
But the Hunt family, that's where it starts, with this respect that permeates down through the generations, and it culminates on a night like tonight.
Now, one player who would totally fit in during Kimball Anders' era is Derrick Henry, the running back for the Tennessee Titans, and he's the true focal point of this offense for Tennessee. So let's talk about Derrick Henry here, having another awesome season. He's rushed for 755 yards this year. It's third in the NFL. He has 21 rushes of 10 or more yards, second most among all running backs behind only Nick Chubb. He has 644 yards after contact this season, easily the most in the NFL, and that would rank fifth in the NFL in rushing all by itself. Coming off a huge game, of course, last week against Houston with more than 200 yards on the ground. So, Mitch, million-dollar question, how can we slow down Derrick Henry here tonight?
Well, first of all, he's his own Legends game, because when you look at the fact that in yards per carry and attempts average in a season, he's led the NFL for 4 consecutive seasons in those two categories. That has not been done since Jim Brown, 1958 to 1961. So it tells you historically what Derrick Henry is like. A couple things have to happen here. The Chiefs have to get more than one guy to the ball. You have to stay assignment sound, because here's where we get in trouble. Go back and watch his 68-yard touchdown against the Chiefs in Nashville in 2019. You first have to get so-called hats to the ball, but your backside guys have got to stay disciplined, and they've got to stay in contain, because that's what happened. The Chiefs got folded in play side, the backside lost contain, and he's out for the big run. Contrast that to the AFC Championship game on this very field that same year. His longest run was 13 yards.
Yeah.
And actually, Dan Sorensen gave him a shot right here. He was never the same, right here over our shoulder. But you've got to stay backside contained. It's discipline and toughness all night long for the Chiefs defense.
And I do think the Chiefs personnel this year is maybe better equipped than in previous years to handle Derrick Henry. And for what it's worth, last year in the regular season, we all know the Titans blew out the Chiefs, but it wasn't really Derrick Henry running the football that hurt Kansas City in that game. He didn't really have a great game in that one. He averaged 3 yards per carry on 29 attempts, one of his worst games of the entire season. It was more the idea of Derrick Henry that hurt Kansas City in that one. The play-action passing game was working for the Titans against the Chiefs last year. They attempted 11 play-action passes, their most of the season. And A.J. Brown at wide receiver was a big benefactor of all those play-action passes. He had 8 grabs for 133 yards. The good news for the Chiefs is A.J. Brown is a Philadelphia Eagle. He's no longer in Tennessee. He added a dynamic to their passing game that, quite frankly, so far this year isn't quite there for them.
And arguably the key piece in their 8-0 start, right, for the Eagles. Robert Woods is that guy now for this team. Remember him from the Rams. But I respect him as a player, but he's not A.J. Brown. And then their tight end crew has changed. They're more bigger, more physical, more H-back type guys that don't necessarily get down the field and run those play-action routes. Westbrook-Akina is another guy for them, but their wide receiver core has changed, in my opinion, from the core that was 19, 20, and 21.
Yeah, a very run-heavy team. They want to run the football. They
More
get
than
uncomfortable when they have to throw the football a whole bunch. We'll talk about that more later. One team that is comfortable throwing the football is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think it surprised some people outside of the kingdom, right, because all these new faces, can they keep it up? Well, they're the #1 scoring offense in the NFL, and for more on how seamless the Chiefs' offense has been this season, I caught up with Maria Taylor from NBC Sports earlier this week. All right, we're joined now by Maria Taylor from NBC Sports. And Maria, this was an offseason of change for the Chiefs in so many ways, especially on offense. We said goodbye to a lot of players who had been here a long time and brought in a bunch of new faces. And there was understandable question marks coming into this season about how quickly the offense could really be cohesive and get going. But they haven't missed a beat. It's the #1 scoring offense in the NFL through 8 weeks. How do you explain how this offense has been so good this season with so many new faces?
Well, the first explanation I'm always going to give is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I think that he's risen his level of play and understanding that, hey, like it's not going to be Tyreek Hill, and though that's going to be the only person that gets a big play. It's kind of been spreading it out, and you're having to work in, Juju Smith-Schuster. We've seen Mecole Hardman, go Dogs, coming on strong. And even looking at the 49ers game, I mean, it's clearly the best the offense has worked as a whole. Hardman had 3 touchdowns. We saw Juju Smith-Schuster having his 100-yard game. Valdez-Scantling also having a 100-yard game. And there's just this great sense of it's just equal. There's balance on offense. And I think it's something that maybe we're used to, that all of the big explosive plays. Now we're seeing the balanced play. We're seeing the consistency. And we always know we're going to get from Travis Kelce. He's caught a pass in 134 straight games. We're hoping that he gets another 100-yard game against the Titans so that he can surpass Rob Gronkowski for the position. And I've actually been in awe at the fact that the Chiefs have still been able to average 32 points per game, still been able to lead the league, despite the fact that there were so many question marks coming in. But ultimately, I believe that starts at the quarterback position. Patrick Mahomes has confidence clearly in every single player that's come on. You guys have just added a wild card in Kadarius Toney. I can't wait to see what wrinkles come into play against the Titans. And it just seems like this truck just continues to steamroll. There's no stopping it. It doesn't matter what you throw in the way, what obstacle might be in the road. You guys find a way to get through it.
Yeah, it's certainly fun to be a part of. I'm a lifelong Kansas City, and to see this offense be as good as they are despite adding so many new faces has been just a blast all season long. And it's not surprising because Patrick Mahomes is our quarterback, and I want to ask you specifically about him. He's 27 years old, but it seems like he's accomplished everything a player could in this league already. But still, this was a challenge this season, saying goodbye to so many good players and adding some new faces. You just wonder how fast they can be cohesive. But again, they haven't missed a beat. What's it say about Patrick that he's accepted this challenge and he's perhaps even better than he's ever been before?
I think it shows an insane amount of maturity. I was lucky enough to come to Kansas City, spend some time with them and sit down with them. And I mean, there's a couple of things that go into it. I mean, I feel like he's a father, he has a daughter, he has a son on the way. He knows that, they're going to be looking up to him, and the way that he approaches the game, the way that he approaches his role in the NFL, is clearly just a straight professional. And he wants to make sure that he's bringing along his teammates. I don't think there's a very humble being to the way that he attacks the game and does it for his team. And even though a lot of his play is flashy, you can tell that it's just like, I want my team to be in the best position. And so whatever it takes to put them there is exactly what I'm going to do. And that's kind of what I got from him. And what happens is people want to play for that person. Like you could have one of the best quarterbacks and he rubs everybody the wrong way. And, there's dissension in the team. And when things get hard, no one wants to fight for him. You never see that with Patrick Mahomes and his teammates and his teams. And so clearly, I think that that's the trickle-down effect of having a great leader. Like you said, he's only 27, so he's only going to get more and more seasoned. But the maturity he's shown up to this point with the scrutiny on him, the spotlight, even last season, remember all the question marks about, Patrick isn't sticking with the fundamentals and he's throwing all these interceptions and it's not looking good. He could have come in this season with a chip on his shoulder trying to show and prove. No, I'm just going to be Patrick, and I'm going to play the game, and I'm going to make the plays that are necessary. Sometimes they're going to be spectacular, and sometimes I'm just throwing to my slot receiver. So I think it's been interesting to watch him handle scrutiny a little bit last season, how he's bounced back and still has the number one scoring offense despite all the question marks. And that just shows, like you said, the maturity of a 27-year-old.
Yeah, one thing Coach Reed always says is that Patrick wants to be great. And as great as he already is, he comes in here every day and wants to get a little bit better. And that's why right now we're living in the golden era of Chiefs football. I try to always remind Chiefs fans of this, that this is incredible what we're witnessing. I know, right? And we're right in the middle of it. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's amazing. And hopefully here on Sunday Night Football, we see another one of those Patrick Mahomes moments here against the Titans. Maria, awesome stuff. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Here we go.
All right.
All right, great stuff there from Maria. We're now joined by a very special guest. It's Grammy Award winner and Chiefs superfan, Melissa Etheridge. Melissa, how's it going?
Oh, my God, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's awesome having you on our show. And you're a very busy person all over the country, doing all kinds of stuff, concerts. Even when you're here, you're often singing the national anthem.
I know.
You're just here as a fan today, right?
Yes. Every time I've sung the national anthem, we've lost. So I'm not going to sing that anymore for a while. Just for a while, but then I'll come back.
You excited just to soak in the game as a fan today,
Yes,
though?
I really am. Loving it. This was kind of last minute for me, and so I was like, yeah, I'll come do this. And it was fun.
Yeah.
This is fun.
One of the proud graduates of Leavenworth High School,
LHS.
the oldest high school in Kansas history, the Pioneers.
Class of 79.
And your dad was an educator and a coach, but what did that do to get the love for this team going?
No, I remember when I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. He came from St. Louis, basically, and he brought his love of football and fell in love with the Chiefs in the mid-'60s. And I remember the Super Bowl 1970. I remember when we won. I remember the whole town going crazy, and that sticks with you as a kid. And I waited 50 more years for that to happen, And so I have deep love. When it's in your family like that, it's just deep. It goes very deep.
Yeah, well, it'd be very easy for you just to watch the games on TV, post on social media, all that, but you share your talents with Chiefs Kingdom. It's an awesome thing, and even though I guess we've lost all the games, you sing the national anthem.
I know.
You're back here often.
Yes.
Why is it so important to you to share your talents and everything that you do with the Kingdom?
Oh, I love that. Every year, once we get into the playoffs and we get down to the championships games and stuff, I always start writing songs and play them on all kinds of things, and it's just fun. It's fun to represent, to be part of it, and just enjoy. I think it's just a fun thing that that our society does is football. I love it.
Yeah,
Melissa, your career, of course, has got a great resume. But your first Grammy seems to coincide when Arrowhead started to become a thing. What about that symmetry?
I love that. I love that just when we were bothering Elway and he was like, quiet down, we're like, no. Right about then, we started really getting competitive and getting in there. And I found my fellow Chiefs fans in L.A. Brad and I were Brad Pitt. We're good friends. We watched some games together.
What a name drop!
I know. Bam.
Brad.
Yeah, Brad. But he's a huge Chiefs fan also, and Dante Hall, and we were just going crazy back then, and it's just been amazing ever since, and it's just better and better all the time.
Yeah. Last question, then we'll let you go. But it's a big game tonight, obviously.
Yes,
How can
sir.
the Chiefs be 6-2 after tonight? Your thoughts on tonight's
all we
game?
got to do is stop Derrick Henry, and that's it. That's it. Because you were telling me that it looks like Willis is out. He's going to do it tonight.
Looks like he's going to
We'll
go.
see.
Yes, and tell me. I just want to hear from Mitch Holt. I want you to tell me how many times we're going to taste the sweet nectar of the end zone, because there's nothing like when I hear you say that
On the spot.
Well, it needs to be in one of your songs.
Yes, the sweet nectar of the end zone.
I'm waiting for sweet nectar
Yeah.
from Melissa 6 times.
6.
You will
I
hear
love it.
6
I
sweet
believe it.
nectars.
I believe it.
I love it.
42.
I believe it. Absolutely.
All right.
I'm here for it. Or, Melissa, you're the best. Thanks so much for joining us.
love
We'll
you
let you
guys.
go, but have
Thank
fun
you.
tonight.
Go Chiefs.
Yeah,
Come on.
let's go Chiefs.
Woo.
Love the passion, man. Love
Here I
the
go.
passion.
I'm going to go this way.
All right.
That's awesome, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
It's always the best part of these shows.
But just the Kingdom and the love for the Kingdom that exists in kind of all ways and shapes and cultures, and it's just great to see how much of a passion it was as her as a little kid remembering Super Bowl IV, and then saying I waited 50 years to get the next one, but she got to see them both. But just it's just awesome. That's just a great example of what you and I see on a weekly, sometimes daily basis, see it in social media, but it's great. The Chiefs Kingdom's awesome.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. Now, we mentioned the quarterback situation for Tennessee. We'll get the inactives any minute here. We don't know who's going to be Tennessee's quarterback tonight. It's really going up to the wire. We don't know if it'll be Ryan Tannehill, who has the ankle injury, didn't play last week, or rookie Malik Willis. Regardless, though, whoever is at quarterback for Tennessee, the idea is stopping Derrick Henry and forcing them to throw because they are uncomfortable when they throw the football. The proof is in the numbers here as well. Since 2019, when Tennessee throws the ball 30 or more times, they're 11-12. That's the 4th worst winning percentage in that situation in the NFL. When they throw it less than 30 times, though, they're 26-7. That's the most wins of any team in the NFL in that situation. The Chiefs need to keep the pressure offensively on Tennessee and force them to throw the football tonight.
One big stat in this game is the fact that Tennessee's number 1 in the NFL, tied with, coming into the week, with Minnesota and Buffalo with 28 points on their first offensive possession. They've been outscored in the second half, Tennessee, 88-30. You're thinking, well, how'd they get to 5-2? They get ahead, stay ahead, and they just keep it in their culture, so to speak. They love to be comfortable, and they get ahead, and that's how they get to their comfort zone.
And we just got the inactives for tonight's game. How about that? So here's your answer. Ryan Tannehill is inactive. Ryan Tannehill is not going to play here tonight for the Tennessee Titans. It'll be Malik Willis. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. Let's quickly talk about the Chiefs here briefly. The one guy that had an injury designation coming into tonight's game was tight end Jody Fortson with a quad injury. He is out of this game. No surprise. We knew that on Friday. So no Jody Fortson. But there is some good news for the Chiefs. Trent McDuffie at corner is back for the first time since week 1. Of course, hurt his hamstring against the Arizona Cardinals. Trent McDuffie is back here tonight. So excited to see what Trent can do. And Kadarius Toney at wide receiver. He is active tonight as well, the newest member of this offense. We'll see how involved he is tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when you look at the Chiefs lead the NFL with 9 players that have pass receptions of 20 yards or more. 9. I'm going to make a prediction. I think it'll go to 10 tonight. I think somewhere there's a 20-yard reception out here for Kadarius Toney. I'm just putting it out there, just a guess. Right. But the other big one there, Jeffrey Simmons is going to play for them. He didn't practice all week. This guy is, honestly, why Tennessee's 5-2. They have maybe the most underrated defense in the entire NFL. Jeffrey Simmons is a game wrecker on the defensive line, number 98. He might be the most underrated player in the NFL on the most underrated defense in the NFL.
Yeah, stop me if you've heard me say this before, but since week 3, the Titans are the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. They're allowing just 15.2 points per game. The Chiefs have obviously answered the bell whenever they're facing.
You just copy and paste it every week? Because it seems like every week. Just
it sure seems like it. I mean, every single week we're facing all these great defenses. This Titans defense is banged up, though. They will have Jeffrey Simmons. As you mentioned, he was questionable coming in with an ankle injury. He also played through that injury last week against Houston. He was on a pitch count, only 38 snaps, had 7 pressures, though, on those 38 snaps. So Jeffrey Simmons is a problem on this defense. Let's see who else is on here.
Amani Hooker's another one that's they're starting safeties out.
Yep, so safety Amani Hooker with a shoulder injury. Knew that one on Friday. He's not going to play. Outside linebacker Bud Dupree, he was a quick pop on the injury report on Friday with an illness. He was questionable coming in. He's 3rd on this team in pressures with 14. Looks like Bud Dupree is going to play in this game. And then defensive lineman Kevin Strong, rotational piece on their defense. He had an ankle injury coming in. He was questionable. He is not going to play.
Yeah.
So if you can keep all that straight, there's 14 guys listed on this injury report for the Titans at one point or another this week. A lot of guys are banged up. Jeffrey Simmons is going to play. Ryan Tannehill is not going to play. Overall for the Chiefs, they're probably the healthiest they've been all season coming into this game. The Titans are not.
And Jody Fortson, so you mentioned Jody Fortson. He's the only injured player on this list. Frank Clark is suspended for 2 games. We know that. But there will be 7 wide receivers that will be active in this game tonight for Kansas City because Marcus Kemp was added by standard elevation. So that's 7 wide receivers, but that means only 2 tight ends. And we've seen 3 tight ends used a lot this year, but Michael Burton can be used in that role. Coach Reed can get very creative with that, as we know. The other thing I'd say, in the last 10 games of the year for 4 years, follow me on this, that's 40 games. With Mahomes and Reed together, they are 33-7. So it's not just after the bye week. It's the next 10 games after the final 10 games of the season, and that just tells you a lot of how they approach it. And with Kadarius Toney, that's one more big piece to this team.
Yeah, this Chiefs offense has seemingly gotten better every single week. They were at their best against San Francisco. Let's keep it going here tonight on the biggest of stages, Sunday Night Football, here as we take on the Titans. Hopefully it ends in a Chiefs victory, and we move to 6-2 tomorrow morning. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.